This video is the second part of European Fiction, Module 1, Socio-political and Literary Background, Unit 1. Next one is Voltaire. Voltaire was a French writer, philosopher, and one of the leading figures of the Enlightenment. He is best known for his wit, his attacks on the Catholic Church, and his advocacy of freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and the separation of church and the state. Some of his most famous works include Candide, a satirical novel that follows the adventure of the young Candide as he travels the world and encounters a series of misfortune. The novel is a critique of the philosophy of optimism and the idea that we live in the best of all possible world. Another one work is Letters Concerning the English Nation. It is a series of essays praising the English for their religious tolerance, freedom of speech, and political liberties. This work had a significant influence on the French Enlightenment. Philosophical Dictionary, a collection of essays on various topics, including religion, politics, and literature. The work reflects Voltaire's skepticism towards organized religion and his advocacy for reason and tolerance. So his writing is characterized by its wit, its sharp criticism of the establishment, and its advocacy for reason and tolerance. He was a prolific writer who used his pen to advocate for social and political reform, earning him a reputation as one of the most influential thinkers of Enlightenment. Next is Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Rousseau was a Genevan philosopher, writer, and a composer whose ideas influenced the Enlightenment in France and across Europe. Rousseau's works span various disciplines, including philosophy, politics, education, and literature, and he is best known for his ideas on social contract theory, education, and the nature of man in society. Some of Rousseau's key works include Discourse on the Science and Arts, Discourse on the Origin and Basis of Inequality Among Men, Emily or on Education, The Social Contract, Confessions. Rousseau's most famous work is The Social Contract, in which he outlines his theory of the social contract, arguing that legitimate political authority is based on the consent of the governed. Confessions is Rousseau's autobiographical work in which he reflects on his life, his philosophy, and his experience. Rousseau's ideas were controversial in his time and remain so today. He is often seen as a precursor to Romanticism due to his emphasis on the importance of nature, emotion, and individual freedom. He also had a significant influence on political thought, particularly in his advocacy for democratic government and his critique of inequality and injustice in society. Next one is Denis Diderot. Denis Diderot was a French philosopher, art critic, and writer, best known for being the co-founder and the editor-in-chief of the Encyclopedia, one of the most important works of Enlightenment. His work spanned various fields including literature, philosophy, and science, and he played a key role in shaping the intellectual landscape of the 18th century Europe. His other works include Jacques the Fatalist and His Master, which is a philosophical novel that explores questions of fate, free will, and the nature of storytelling. Another one work is The Nun. It is a novel that exposes the corruption and hypocrisy of the Catholic Church through the story of a young woman forced into a convent against her will. So the next topic is Romanticism. Romanticism was an artistic and literary and intellectual movement that originated in Europe toward the end of the 18th century and peaked in the first half of the 19th century. It was characterized by focus on emotion, individualism, nature, and the supernatural, as well as rejection of rationalism and order of the Enlightenment. Romanticism placed a strong emphasis on the expression of emotion and the power of imagination. Artists and writers sought to evoke powerful emotional responses in their audience. Romanticism celebrated the beauty and majesty of nature, viewing it as a source of inspiration and spiritual renewal. And artistic creativity. Nature was often depicted as powerful and sublime force. Romanticism emphasized the importance of individual and the unique experience and emotions of each person. It also celebrated the lives and struggles of ordinary people, often portraying them as heroes. Romanticism was fascinated by the supernatural, the mysterious, and the exotic. It explored themes of supernatural, folklore, and it explores the themes of supernatural and the folklore. Romanticism often critiqued the negative effects of industrialization and urbanization, such as pollution, overcrowding, and social alienation. It idealized rural life and the simplicity of the natural world. Romanticism often featured a romantic hero, a figure who is isolated from society, struggling against constraints of civilization, and driven by intense emotions and passion. Romanticism looked into the past for inspiration, often drawing on medieval history, mythology, and folklore for its subject matter. Some of the key figures in Romanticism include William Wordsworth, S.T. Coleridge, John Keats, Lord Byron, as well as artists like J.M.W. Turner. Romanticism had a profound impact on literature, art, music, and philosophy, and its influence can be still seen today. Next one is Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo was a French poet, novelist, and playwright, widely regarded as one of the greatest writers in French literature. He was a key figure in Romantic movement and is best known for his novels, particularly Les Miserables and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Les Miserables is considered one of the greatest novels of the 19th century. Les Miserables tell the story of Jean Valjean, a former convict who seeks redemption and explores themes of justice, redemption, and the human condition. The novel is also a sweeping social commentary on the injustice of French society. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This novel tells the story of Quasimodo, the hunchback bell ringer of Notre Dame Cathedral, and his tragic love for the beautiful gypsy Esmeralda. The novel is set against the backdrop of medieval Paris and explores themes of love, faith, and power of beauty. The themes in Hugo's poetry include nature, love, and the human experience. He was also known for his political and social activism. He was a vocal critic of the French government and advocated for social justice and the rights of poor and oppressed. His works are characterized by their deep compassion for humanity, their vivid characters, and their powerful storytelling. He had a profound influence on French literature and culture, and his works continue to be widely read and studied today. Next writer is Goethe. Goethe was a German writer, poet, playwright, and philosopher, often considered one of the greatest figures in Western literature. Some of his famous works include Faust, The Sorrows of Young Werther, Elective Affinities, West Eastern Divan. So, Faust is Goethe's magnum opus, which is a tragic play, which is our next topic. And The Sorrows of Young Werther is a novel that tells the story of a young man who falls in love with another woman who is already engaged to another man. The novel is written in the form of letters and considered one of the earliest examples of romantic movement in literature. West Eastern Divan is a collection of poems inspired by Goethe's fascination with the culture and poetry of the Middle East, particularly Persia. He was also a scientist and a philosopher known for his work in botany, anatomy, and color theory. He was a central figure in Sturm and Drang movement in German literature, which emphasized individualism, emotion, and the rejection of societal norms. Next is Faust. Faust is a tragic play written by Goethe. It is considered one of the greatest works of German literature and a classic of world literature. The play is based on the legend of Faust, a scholar who makes a pact with the devil, Mephistopheles, in the exchange for knowledge and worldly pleasures. Faust is divided into two parts, with the first part published in 1808 and the second part published posthumously in 1832. The play explores themes such as the nature of good and evil, the limits of human knowledge and ambition, and the search for meaning and fulfillment in life. In the first part of the play, Faust is dissatisfied with his life as a scholar and makes pact with Mephistopheles, agreeing to serve the devil in exchange for unlimited knowledge and worldly pleasures. Faust's pursuit of knowledge and experience leads him to encounter various characters and embark on a series of adventures, including a romance with a young woman, Gretchen, which ends in tragedy. The second part of the play is more philosophical and allegorical, exploring Faust's continued search for meaning and redemption. Faust became involved in political and social projects, seeking to improve the world around him, but ultimately realizes that true fulfillment can only be found in life devoted to the pursuit of knowledge and the acceptance of his own limitation. Faust is known for its rich language, complex characters, and profound insight into human condition. It has been widely interpreted and adapted in various forms, including operas, films, and literary works, and continues to be studied and celebrated for its enduring relevance and artistic merit. Mm. Next one is Hegel. Hegel was a German philosopher who is considered one of the most important figures in Western philosophy. Hegel's work is highly influential and has a profound impact on a wide range of disciplines, including philosophy, political theory, theology, art, and literature. His philosophy is complex and systematic and is often seen as a reaction to the Enlightenment and the rationalism of thinkers like Kant. His key concepts include dialectical method, absolute idealism, history as progress, ethical life. Dialectical method is Hegel's philosophy based on the idea of the dialectical process in which contradictory ideas or forces, thesis and antithesis, are synthesized into a higher truth or unity. Synthesis. This process of dialectical development is seen as driving history and development of human thought. Hegel is known for his concept of absolute idealism, which posits that the ultimate reality is a universal mind or spirit that manifests itself in the world through the process of dialectical development. This absolute spirit is the source of all reality and is constantly evolving to a higher state of self awareness and freedom. Hegel's philosophy of history sees history as a progressive development of human freedom and self realization. He believed that history is driven by dialectical process and that each stage of history represents a higher level of consciousness and freedom than the one before it. Hegel's political philosophy is based on the idea of ethical life, which emphasizes the importance of community and shared ethical values. He believed that the state is the highest expression of ethical life and that individuals should be willing to sacrifice their own interests for the greater good of the community.